Hi, I'm Andaluza.
And I am Constantin, and you are watching.
Fiona,
Yeah.
thank you for accepting our invitation to have an interview and to discuss about business process improvement. I saw that you moved from being an employee to being a freelancer. How did you come to this decision? Can you please talk about a bit about yourself and your
Sure.
journey, your professional journey?
No, thank you both for having me for the interview. So yeah, my career trajectory has been, I think, if you looked at a spaghetti diagram and you'd see my career mapped out there, it's gone all over the place. It's been a question of evolution, really. I originally started off in engineering, and that was in the steel industry many moons ago in Australia. That wasn't the environment for me at the time. I moved into doing a business degree, became an accountant, worked as a young junior accountant in some employee-based roles, and looked at different systems of accounting, worked on projects, and got really interested in sort of project work and systems and how data flows efficiently through businesses, the business processes themselves. I came to the UK in 2005, so 18 years ago, and worked in consulting with one of the big consulting groups, and then went into freelancing for a number of years. Moved back into sort of working as an employee, and so my career has gone a little bit round about with different organisations. But I guess over the last year or so, I've been working with in a startup environment, helping startups with their journey into establishing a business and growing it. And I've helped develop business education around lean thinking for startups. And so taking the lean principles and working that space. I then took some time to work as a finance manager, head of finance, but have recently decided, you know what, my passion is really in helping different organizations on different projects, SMEs to larger organizations, with their adopting lean principles as a way of thinking in their organizations. So that's why I've decided to step out again into the freelance consulting world to continue to help organizations in that sense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And what were the challenges you faced and how did you overcome them when you actually deployed lean in different organizations, SMEs, startups, whatever?
Yeah, well, a couple of things. I think lean is very well established in manufacturing, and so it has its roots in manufacturing. And when we're talking to business support functions, whether they be HR processes, finance, legal, that kind of thing, or we've got a new founder owner, a lot of them, so from that perspective, haven't heard of lean ever. They've never been in that manufacturing environment. So this is all completely new concept to them. Mm-hmm. But I think there's been a growing awareness. We see methodologies like Agile taking off now. So you hear jargon being thrown around. So I've been going into some businesses and say we're doing a finance transformation piece, and they've heard, oh, I want you to be lean, I want you to be agile, but without any real understanding of what that is, because it's the latest buzzword. So first of all, it's just talking with some of the leadership about what lean and agile is, but more importantly, getting down to first principles of lean and defining value for the organization itself. It's like, what do you want to achieve first of all? So actually taking that voice of the customer approach with as the initial conversations, the exploratory conversations I have with my clients. And the same applies for startups and founders. They are trying to do everything. They are wearing so many different hats. It becomes overwhelmed. They don't know where to start. So again, it's really having some of those basic conversations, really scaling it down understanding what are you trying to do? What's the end goal here? And we talk about value proposition and those very early stages of a startup, they're talking about value proposition. So getting really clear on value is the fundamental thing. And then you work out the how around that. And that's where the lean tools, methodologies, and actually being adaptable to that Lean Six with the Six Sigma and quality and agile, being able to build resilience and be flexible in your organization. It's using the right tool for the job in that sense.
Great.
I imagine that one of the challenges of what you are doing is communication. And I was wondering, how do you effectively communicate complex ideas to a diverse audience? For example, an audience that includes both technical and non-technical stakeholders.
Yeah, well, it's I kind of see it like learning a language or playing music or football or sport. It's about, I think there needs to be a mix of that practical application. Communication comes in many different forms. It's not just about throwing theory at someone and hoping it sticks and that they know what to do with it. It's about, yeah, I'm going to explain a little bit of this, and then we're going to I might demonstrate it, and then we'll let you have a go. And create a safe environment for people, a psychologically safe environment for people to experiment with a new idea and put it into practice. Let them have those aha moments themselves. Let them get stuck and say, oh, I'm really not getting this. And then you can sort of hone in on what's going on and unpack it a bit. Let them find it and discover it for themselves. And that's, for me, where the real learning comes from, and where you get the communication going, when they're able to sort of experiment, get stuck, get unstuck, ask questions. And I'm there as that facilitator. I'm not there to tell people what to do or how to do it. I'm a facilitator. I can show them tools and put some terminology around it. I really am careful about just throwing theory and using terms. I really like to sort of let people describe and have that experience with something.
Yeah.
And then we can frame that. We can use some terminology later. Oh, you've been doing lean. This is what we call value stream mapping. You've mapped out, you've selected what are the really key activities that are going to drive value in your business. Well, there's a term.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Real examples. Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
I believe that they are anyway more open when they are working in a psychological safe environment, and they are willing to learn, and they are really open to trying new things and applying new tools and methodologies.
No, absolutely. And I think, looking at from your experience, Andaluza, you've got that innovation and the design thinking. And I think this is where, that really lends itself to it. It's being able to have that iterative process of going, well, what's going on here? Oh, how could I do something better? And in that sense, that's innovation. So it's innovation in the business processes.
Yeah, right.
Do you have patient customers?
Not all the time.
How do you balance short-term gains, goals with long-term ones?
Oh, that's an interesting.
To convince them to accept long-term goals.
Yeah, we live in a very short-term sort of society that wants results now, and
right.
And I have gone into a big charity in the past, and they wanted a finance transformation. I thought, oh, this is amazing. I get to work with this big charity. They're doing amazing work. I'm going to be part of this finance transformation. It's going to be brilliant. I've got 18 months, and and I thought the leadership was really up for it. When I went in, the first things they're saying to me, okay, right, you need to go and do process improvement workshops and get results. You've got 3 months. It's like, what? Okay, well, what exactly do you want me to improve on the processes, first of all? What's your idea? So I'm trying to get that understanding of where they're at with their lean understanding. I was kind of horrified. They had 40 accountants,
Right.
just their financial planning and analysis team. So the management accountants looking at, basically the same thing across different departments. 40 I've never seen that. Maybe 3 accountants doing the same thing in these organizations, not 40. And I said, what are you doing? Well, we need some process improvement workshops. For what? We're correcting we're doing corrective journal entries. For what? For mistakes made. Okay, way up in the sort of value chain. And, in this case, it was volunteer expenses. Mm-hmm. And I said, I'm not going to show you or help you drive efficiencies in processing corrective journal entries to drive efficiency here. But what's the point of doing that? Why aren't you sort of looking at this end-to-end and looking at root causes of why you're processing so many corrective journal entries? And so there was a tension there in terms of I'm wanting to do a holistic approach, step through the value stream with the organization. They're wanting faster processing of journal entries. It was a difficult communication that the chief finance officer was fixated. He had, through a friend on another board at another charity, heard of lean. It's process improvement. It will drive efficiencies. From a finance piece that's making music to their ears, I think. And so they're picking up on the efficiency. Mm-hmm. It was a process of having to discuss the principles of lean. Let's make this easier, better, faster, and cheaper. Well, from a Shingo perspective, and saying, well, let's do that. Define value, step through the value stream, map it out, and we came to a compromise. I did a couple of. They just weren't hearing it. I did a couple of little process improvement workshops with them anyway, via Zoom. It was over the pandemic. And at the same time, I started mapping through talking to the employees themselves, doing a bit of that Gemba observational, desktop observation with the employees, and finding out where the value was and what they were doing. So I kind of did a bit of behind the scenes and then presented it back. So it's a bit of give and take. It is understanding where people are at in their journey with lean as well.
Right.
Should I ask something more? When we speak about business process innovation, we mainly think about processes. But I'm wondering, how do you deal with the human part when it comes to implementing new ideas and to improving processes and coming with new methodologies? Are people open to that, or is there any resistance you need to work with towards implementing the changes and the new ideas and processes and projects?
Yeah, great question. And absolutely, the people, what gets me up in the morning. I've been in too many organizations where I felt frustrated myself as an employee. And so I don't feel listened to. I don't feel that my contribution is being valued. I then go into autopilot mode or presenteeism. And quite often there's a negative culture, a toxic culture around that, if other people are feeling the same. And so for me, that is what actually drives me. I want to see people use their talents. The engineers who studied engineering and want to make a difference in the world. The people who've studied finance and want to help make better decisions and drive value in their business. Whoever it is, whatever side they're coming from. So that's what motivates me. So I take that people-centric approach when I'm working with clients. And a few sort of phrases spring to mind: the tone from the top, culture eats strategy for breakfast. I think we've all heard of these phrases, but they become throwaway phrases, but they really are what helps me think about the people change, the culture that we need here. And the tone from the top, especially, you're going to get, from a leadership perspective, what you put in, you get out, and that goes for culture as well. So if the leadership is not on board and providing a supportive culture and helping their employees, you are going to get that disengagement at the ground level. And there's no kind of rah-rah championing saying, come on, team, we have to be more efficient, we have to come up with ideas. They're just not going to do it. They're going to be disengaged. So it really is about setting that tone, working with the leadership, getting them to understand and buy into the concepts of what you're trying to drive through adopting lean principles. And then, because they're the most influential in helping drive culture change. And then when you've got that freedom to do that and that support from the leadership, then going in with the teams on the ground and allowing them, a big part of that is that empowerment, giving them that psychological safety in their teams to say, and I guess that those change management principles around letting go of things, having that time to say, yeah, we recognize this has been what's happening in the past, and grieve that letting go, that process of letting go, experiment with what's going on, and then move into the new ways of working. So give them time. So coming back to your earlier question around trying to drive short-term results, but real transformation takes time, because a lot of this is around the people side of it. So that is very much attention that comes through.
Great answer. Thank you very much.
Okay. Are your customers already concerned about AI?
Some are, some aren't. It again depends where they are. Another client, a client that I worked with during the pandemic, they were moving to a virtual shared services office, and so bringing it across Europe, bringing Poland, Germany, UK, Spain, France on board. And I was just thinking, oh, great. I get to sort of do some digital sort of transformation here. This is great. I love a bit of tech, so I'm always up for that, and I love getting into it. So, this is exciting. And I was absolutely horrified when we were talking about how it's going to be great, with this new virtual sort of office. And one of the, I think it was the German credit controller at the time, said, "Oh, does that mean we get to start doing email invoicing?" Come again? What are you talking about? Email invoicing? Why is this a new thing? They were still printing out customer invoices and putting them in envelopes and physically sending them off. The first thing that alarmed me around this was they said, "Oh, do we get to get a new franking machine?" I'm going, What are you using? Why are you asking these questions? It's this is 1980s, 1990s here, people. And so trying to take a leap from that to talking about AI. So yeah, again, I think this has become the term AI is used in finance. I think there's amazing opportunities to use AI for driving better data analytics and decision making. However, we're still talking about systems and networks and data and what people put into all of these networks for AI to look at. And it comes to that rubbish in equals rubbish out equation again. So if these incredible neural networks that we're now using to do these advanced, sophisticated data analytics are being used, and all they've got is rubbish data, then all we're going to get is rubbish results. So I still think there's that real importance to have a look at data quality in terms of AI. So I still think we've got a long way to go before we can really rely on it to help us with predictive analytics to almost prescriptive analytics and help better decision making. I think it also comes down to again, the maturity of the organization and where they're at with applying digital technologies in their organizations.
Thank you so much, Fiona. Thank you so much. Great answer.
Well,
any plans for the future?
Yes, I'm excited at the moment. I am stepping out again as a freelance independent consultant. So I am looking to develop some further education pieces, bite-sized pieces of education for business improvement, so lean business improvements and innovation, and using the lean principles around that. And I also have a profound interest in the movement with ESG at the moment, particularly absolutely there's the environmental side has been covered by a lot of amazing people out there at the moment, a lot of great work. I think the social aspect of the ESG needs a lot more work and attention. And that's where we're looking at supply chains and diversity and inclusion and that culture piece that we're talking about. How do we create better organizations for people and use some of these? I think lean thinking lends itself to helping solve some of those societal issues in creating better businesses. So that's another area I'm exploring at the moment, and developing, working with some people to develop some products around that and some service offerings.
It's great to see we have almost similar plans for the future.
Fantastic. Well, I hope that there's some kind of collaboration that we can do in the future, work together, work on a project together. I think this is what I really enjoy about connecting with people at networking, and being part of something like the ILSSI this is bigger than me. This is not about my ego and being able to achieve something by myself. We need people all over the world to be able to pool our talents, work together, and make that positive impact.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So what about yourselves? Your plans for the short to medium term and beyond?
Well, as you said, we are teaching and applying now a mix of methodologies. Actually, we weren't Six Sigma fundamentalists. We never were such consultants. We like to play with different methodologies, and now we focus a lot on the human part. And here my colleague can tell you more about.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm also into this, the connecting with people. It's also for me the thing that gets me up in the morning. I really like the connection with the group and also in one-to-ones. So I'm trying to bring this human part into the Lean Six Sigma methodology and see the outcomes and see how people can implement, and how can it be made more easier for them to accept change and to also drive it in their organizations and also for themselves. Because it's important to improve themselves first and then to improve the processes they work within.
Well, I think that's it. When we're looking at change adoption, if the person, the individual, they might have been doing their job for 30 years, and if they have a new change, and if they're not on board with that, if they're not feeling that they can have the space to learn something new and the confidence to, as I said before, make mistakes, experiment with it in a safe way, and then apply it, then you're not going to get the value from any new system or process that you're implementing.
Exactly, and they need to understand what's in it for them first to be able to react to such a change and to be open to move forward with themselves in order to apply everything that comes within the change.
Absolutely. What I try to do, and I imagine you do this as well, is I think we've all sat there through horrendous training programs where we'd rather gouge our eyes out with a spoon than actually listen to any more of the training. And it's just so boring. It's just like, oh, this is awful. So I try to bring in quite a bit of that interactive element into any kind of, I don't even like to call it training anymore. It's more that the masterclass, the facilitation, a program of change. So
Yeah,
it's moving away from that classroom-based, tell somebody, they go away, forget everything as soon as they walk out the door.
exactly.
So,
If it's only theory, they wouldn't remember anything. Because
absolutely.
we are working with adults and they learn by doing. This learning by doing concept, it's really powerful.
Yeah, the sort of learn by doing, experiential learning,
Exactly.
and being able to do it in an iterative way. And come back to sort of thinking about, I love to play music. I'm out of practice, so for me to sit down at a piano, I have to kind of go back to basics again. I haven't forgotten everything, but I have to make mistakes before to be able to improve. And I'm not going to go out there straight away go from zero to hero in 1 week. But psychologically, I always think, why can't I be like my teacher who was a professional of 30 odd years? And especially, so let's have some realistic ambitions here, because I'm not practicing and I expect to be like someone who has been doing this every day and finding their technique for 30 years. So I think when it comes to change adoption, we need to let people have that chance to make mistakes, learn from it, go on, try it again, and keep improving.
This is where they need the guidance to understand that it takes time and it is a process, and everyone has its own, his or her own rhythm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much again. Thank you.
My pleasure, Constantin and
Really
Andaluza.
nice talking to you.
Really lovely to talk to you both. Thank you so much.
Hopefully, we are going to have a common project soon.
I really hope so. I'd really enjoy that. We'll absolutely keep in touch on some of the developments. Some of the developments I'm doing at the moment. I think there might be something that we could actually talk about.
Thank you.
Stay mysterious there, but
Okay.
Okay, have a nice weekend ahead, Fiona, and we keep in touch.
Thank you so much, both of you. Have a lovely weekend.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.